During lesson 41 of Jesus before Pilate and Herod, Jesus is charged with treason, which is a political charge, and claiming to be the Messiah, which is a religious charge. He is seen as not guilty and sent to Herod for jurisdiction. Herod was in Jerusalem for the feast of Passover. During Herod's trial, he sends Jesus back to Pilate, still as not guilty. Pilate does not want to convict Jesus. The crowd really wants Jesus to be executed, and Pilate offers an option to release another person. Pilate hated the Jewish leaders because they had independent power over him. Trial number 5 is Pilate's retrial. Try him yourself. The Sanhedrin could try a person, inflicting the religious sentence of stoning. They wanted to shift the blame to Pilate. They accused him of a political crime. Only Rome could sentence the death penalty for a crime of treason on Jesus. This shows the question of kingdoms, heaven versus earth. He is still seen as not guilty. In the remaining sections, Pilate is weak and he knows the truth but cannot act on it. He makes the crowd vote on Jesus or Barabbas, who was a murderer. The people pick Barabbas over Jesus. Pilate thought they were going to pick Jesus, but they didn't. Now, the military was angry because they released a cop killer. Pilate claims innocence by washing his hands, which is the gesture of cleansing, and blames the crowd for convicting Jesus. Pilate wants to avoid a riot, and Rome will blame him for the political pressure of killing Jesus. Lesson 42, on the road to Calvary, Simon of Cyrene is forced to assist Jesus in carrying the cross. This is to set up Jesus' crucifixion. Jesus consoles the daughters and women of Jerusalem and tells them that they need to look out for one another. This is very selfless of Jesus. He is more concerned about others than himself, especially the 2 criminals that are being crucified beside him. Jesus is crucified. Place: the skull, which is cranium in Greek, Calvary, which is Latin, and Golgotha, which is in Aramaic. He says before he's crucified for the Father to forgive him. The theme is God's mercy, even though we reject him, and selflessness of Jesus versus condemnation. He saves others by being crucified. This is the temptation of Satan. The inscription of Jesus' cross is NRI. The I stands for Jesus, N stands for Nazareth, R stands for King, and the I, again, stands for Jesus. In the story today, in paradise, there are 2 criminals. The left is selfish, and the right is selfless, and repents, asking Jesus for forgiveness, and goes to heaven with Jesus. This is stressing Jesus' innocence. In the story, my God, Eloi, Jesus calls on God. Confusion sometimes is with Eloi and Elijah. This is words of despair versus words of confidence. Jesus recites the psalm of confidence for them. In the story of Jesus gives his mother to us, there are 3 Marys: Mary, the mother of Jesus, Mary Magdalene, and Mary, the wife of Clopas. Jesus gives Mary to John, and he shall take care of his mother. Mary is a caretaker of the church. We are all Mary's children and Jesus' brothers. Mary is the new Eve. In the story, it is finished. When Jesus says, I thirst, it stresses his humanity. And it is finished is John's gospel, because he prophesies about Jesus his whole life. In the story, Jesus dies, The torn curtain equals the end of the covenant. Nothing blocks us from God. Jesus' death makes God completely accessible, even though death will not stop us from believing in God. Jesus conquers his death. Jesus shows us to surrender to God even in the most helpless and hopeless situations. His heart is pierced. Breaking Jesus' legs speeds up the death process. Preparation day is when they move the cross and crucify them, and then remove the bodies before sundown. Jesus is already dead, so they pierce his sides to make sure. Blood and water flow, cleansing the sacrament of baptism and the Eucharist. Jesus is buried. The tomb is donated by Joseph of Arimathea. This is like the secret disciple Nicodemus. In the story of the tomb guard, the religious authority requests a guard. He prevents disciples from stealing the body and avoids for rumors of a resurrection. Eventually, Jesus does resurrect from the dead.